evening. Welcome to Dare to Share with Misty Lane. I am your host, Misty Lane. I am a best-selling author, award-winning speaker, and the founder of the hashtag Be That One movement. This movement, you guys, I'm going to ask you jump on over to my Facebook page right now and join the movement right there on my Facebook page. It's a private group, and this movement is encouraging others to step up and be that one, to share their raw, authentic truth so that we can learn from each other's experiences. We can learn from each other's pain. We can become educated. We can become more aware of certain scenarios and situations. And with that, my hope is that we can judge less and mentor more in the world. I believe that transparency can be a game changer out there. I mean, imagine a world, you guys, where teenage pregnancy will go down because girls will feel that they can go home and share with their parents in transparency, in fear of being, instead of being in fear of being ridiculed and shamed, and run into the corner, the office on the corner for an abortion. She'll feel that she can open up to her parents and be honest. I mean, I can see it helping in suicide rates. I mean, I can see it across the board, helping everywhere. So I really ask that you get out and you help spread this movement, the Be That One movement. And it starts by you just joining the group yourself. All right. Also, I ask that you take this and share it out with your family and friends. You never know who might hear something that me or Scott might have to say tonight that somebody just might need to hear. This is going to be a heavy topic. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. Scott is sharing in complete transparency. I talked to him today, and it's going to be a little bit heavy, so buckle up, be ready to go, but share it because somebody out there is going to need to hear what he has to say, and he's going to give hope to so many people that are struggling out there. He's going to give hope, so I think that we need that. All right, so let's say hello to our friends and family that are here. Hello, Sam. Nice for joining us. Hi, Jana. Thank you for being here. Hi, Amy. Beautiful Amy. Thank you. Hi, my friend Robert, all the way from Canada. Hi, Robert. Thank you for being here. All right, you guys, you finished jumping on in. I'm probably going to start without you, but that's okay. You know how we roll here on Dare to Share. All right. So another thing I want to talk about is I am working really hard at trying to develop my online courses. I'm trying to get to a point where I can get content out to you guys. I'm stuck on this whole perfectionism thing that I talk about all the time. I want it to be just right. I want it to be professional, and time's ticking by and there's still no content. So I'm really working through that because I want to provide value to you guys. I really want to share from my heart the things that I've learned along the way so that you can learn them too. So just kind of stay watching in the Be That One group for that information as it's going to start trickling out. And I'm probably going to do some beta testing, probably another 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks. I'll take a few of you, my faithful ones here. I'll take a few of you and offer it to you for free, my entire online course as a beta tester, so you can help me work out the kinks and tell me how to improve. All right, you guys. Well, we're here to talk with Scott Wajda, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him in tonight. Hi, Scott. Welcome
Hello.
to Dare to Share. How are you?
I'm good.
You're good. And you're in Chicago, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Chicago. I have some friends there. Lauren Michaels Harris. Do you know him?
No.
No. He has a show called Bathrobe Moments.
Bathrobe Moments, okay.
Yeah, we need to get you hooked up with him. You'd be great on his show too.
Sure.
Well, first, I just want to say, I know you and I had a conversation today, and I just want to say to you how grateful and thankful I am that you are so willing to be transparent. After we spoke, I said, are you sure that you don't mind talking about these things and openly and honestly? And you said, no, you didn't mind. So, a lot of people don't have the courage to do what you're doing today. And that's exactly what this show is about. It's about stepping up to dare and share your truth to help others. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. So the first thing I always do is ask my guests to just kind of have 2 or 3 minutes to brag on yourself, to tell the audience about your biggest accomplishments in your life, maybe some positive stuff you got going on right now. Because as we all know, our life is not always cupcakes, unicorns, and rainbows, and there is adversity along the way. So we're going to start with some positive stuff, and then we're going to kind of backtrack and get into your story. So it's all yours. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. Well, I think that in our current situation, you know, an accomplishment for me would be to like finding quarters for laundry. You know, that's awesome. I think. But anyways, um, accomplishments in my life. I think one of the biggest ones was when I uh, decided to decide. That was a big one. Um, I recently, well, actually, this last year, I was chosen as the my parish's vision keeper uh, in through Interfaith Action. Interfaith Action is a collection of faith communities within Evanston, um, and I was chosen as St. Mary's Vision Keeper.
Oh,
Uh, so that was big for me, anyways. Um, uh, Other than that, I've been not only have I volunteered there a lot, but also too, I was the warming center coordinator for the last 2 years before that. So I did that, and I moved to 19 Columbus, and I do just a lot of stuff there, and it keeps me connected with someone outside or an organization outside of the behavioral health service that I attend,
right,
and
right.
so yeah, it's good.
Well, that's awesome. And for the audience, just to, so you understand, this is big for Scott. And you guys are going to understand after you hear his story why these are big things for him. I mean, he has just recently been able to live on his own and not be in an institution. That's a big accomplishment for him to function in society on his own, much less to be put in a position of power and authority. So that is a huge accomplishment, Scott. Congratulations on that. And it's all your hard work and your diligence and your, how do you say that? You say you participate in life by accepting. How do you say that?
I I made a decision to participate in life by accepting my diagnosis of mental or a major depressive disorder,
Major depressive.
while
Okay,
also
there it is.
acting in a realization that it required medication to treat my mental illness.
Got you. Okay. All right. So Scott has major depressive disorder. For those of you that are didn't know that yet, major depressive disorder is also called clinical depression by the textbook definition is a significant medical condition that can affect many areas of your life. It impacts mood and behavior as well as various physical functions such as appetite and sleep. Scott has a pretty severe case of it, and after you hear his story, you're gonna say, "Well, anybody probably would, right?" So we're gonna go back, Scott, and we're gonna talk transparently. We're just going to kind of dive in. I know you shared with me earlier your dad was an alcoholic, your mom was codependent. You had a really rough go as a kid. I think there were five of you, correct? Three boys. Is that correct?
Three boys and three girls.
Six of you. Okay.
Yes.
Um, all right. So, and this is pre-diagnosis of any kind of depression. We're just going to start talking about now. Um, let's start in your story with the move to South America and just kind of describe to us, um, you know, what happened. You were traumatized by the move and your mom started spanking you. Kind of talk to us about why she was spanking you and just kind of put us at that space in your life.
Okay. Um, so I started waiting to bed. Okay. Um, After we moved to Peru, um, my mother's solution to that was to spank me for each occurrence, which happened like every day. I was wetting the bed every day and keep being spanked every day. Um,
And you were eight,
uh,
correct? About 8 years old?
yeah, it was 8 years old, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I so it was I, yeah, I was getting up like or trying to get up like before she got up, to get to
Yeah.
school. you know.
Yeah.
So, I would try that. Sometimes I was successful at that, others not. But yeah, that was yeah, yeah, that was pretty much the beginning of it, I think.
And you shared with me earlier that you thought that maybe that spanking you became a release for your mom because she was in this situation with your dad who was an alcoholic, and you felt like she was kind of taking it out on you. You were traumatized. You moved to a whole other country, and um, you know, you felt like she was just kind of. Is that true? Is that how you felt? Like she was using you
Yeah,
to take it out on?
because because I mean, because there was that part of it, but there's also the part where she was a mom and she wanted to be a good mom, and you know, she made sure we had our basic necessities, and stuff like that, and being nice to us, and yeah, so there was a duality there that was hard to wrap my 8-year-old head around,
Yeah,
and so yeah, but the longer it went on, the more I
yeah.
became
And
depressed.
you told me you stayed there only a year, and then you and your mom and your brothers and sisters moved back, but your dad stayed on. Um, what was that time like when your dad wasn't around?
Well, we came back in my second half, my third grade year, and we were back about 2 years, but or it was better, I would say, in some ways. Um, I still went to bed, and that was kind of a hangover. I mean, eventually it stopped, but it was kind of a hangover from Peru, I think.
Right.
And my mom, still spanked me. It was, and I've come to understand that it was more of it's how she understood discipline. You
Yeah.
know, it's what happened to her. You know, so that's how she disciplined her children. So.
And how was she like as far as constantly telling you sit up straight, do this, don't talk, and then she'd be mad at you for not talking, right? So she was very hard to read her and predict her behavior, right?
Well, that was after after my fifth grade year, in when my dad went to Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that's when that really began, because that was when in my fifth grade year, my father was home in my fifth grade year, before he went to Saudi. That was a very hard year for me. Um, so after he left, she was still disciplining me. But during her lectures, she would lecture me first, and then
Mhm.
during her lectures, I could not, you know, talk. I had to sit up, be just basically listen to what she had to say. You know,
Right. Okay. So, all right. So let's move forward a little bit. Let's go ahead and introduce. Well, before we do that, let me ask you this: did you have friends during this time? Were you a popular guy in school? Were you being bullied in school? What was your social life like? And this is like, grade school age.
yeah, I had a couple close friends. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
we did things together. I ran around the neighborhood. We played war. We run all over the place. Yeah, yeah.
So you felt like you were a pretty normal kid, right?
In some ways, yeah.
In some ways. Okay. All right. So let's move forward to sixth grade. Let's go ahead and talk about summer camp. Let's just get that out on the table and talk about. I want you to go ahead and spend a few minutes and walk us through your story and share with us about this 11-year-old boy and what became of y'all's relationship and then how it ended. So take a few minutes and just kind of talk us through this story, if you would.
Sure. Um, So yes, it was with another 11-year-old boy. He would not. Our first night there, he would not stop uh, showing me his heart on. Um, Even though I couldn't. I mean, I wanted to go to sleep, and he kept waking me up. Look at this, look at this, and so I showed him mine, and then the next day, he pulled his pants down and his shirt up, and he laid across his bunk, with his heart on. And I, I, I did what after standing there for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, wondering what was going on, why he was doing this, um, I kissed it because that's what I thought he wanted me to do, you know. Um,
This
and
was your
then that,
first sexual encounter, Scott, in any way?
correct, correct, yes. Um, and then that led us to uh, after we had activities in the morning, activities in the afternoon, we came back to the site for lunch, and then at lunchtime I was basically in the tent with him, giving him oral sex, and so that was that week. When we came back, when we start we started our meetings in September again, um, and we were going down to get the flags in September after that camp, and I felt two hands on me, pulling me behind a bookshelf, and it was him, and he basically pulled his pants down and told me to go for it, do it, which I did. Um, um, that continued for like 3 years.
How many
Um,
years?
3,
3 years. And so you
3
were
years.
11, 12, 13, 14-ish at this time, right? So we're
Correct.
talking junior high, middle school.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
And he was, like I said in the beginning, he was the instigator. He began it. You know, um, we really didn't have a lot of time when we were doing that. But um, his whole objective was to make me orgasm. And he was he was giving it to me by hand, um, trying to achieve that. He So it wasn't until our May of like my eighth grade year that he actually achieved that objective for himself. He,
You
you know,
mean
gave me,
ejaculation? Is that what you're referring
yeah,
to?
ejaculation. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Um, um,
We're
so
adults.
yeah, he did that. I had to ask him. Actually, I had to ask him what happened because I didn't know. You know, and he basically said it was what girls gets girls pregnant. That's what he said.
What
You
gets
know.
gold? So y'all were just young. You didn't even know. Do you
Yeah.
think that this was okay? First of all, let's establish: are you gay?
No. No.
Okay. So was this? Do you think this was just sexual curiosity from two boys, or do you think that this was abusive on his part?
I. I from the way it started. Him getting me to show him my heart on, and then what happened through that. You know.
Mhm.
Um, Plus, in my 20s, I started going to adult children of alcoholics. And through that, I began to suspect that he was, I was revenge for somebody doing it to him, you know. And it wasn't until like 5 years ago that I did actually find out that it was revenge, uh, and that his father was doing it to him.
That's so sad. So his father was doing it to him. He probably didn't understand it. He was 11. Probably didn't understand it, but was angry about it. So the only thing he knew to do was probably do it to someone else. So that's where you
Yes.
came in. But y'all have this relationship. I mean, this wasn't a one time. I'm curious. We're at summer camp thing. This went on for 3 years, for 3 long
Yes.
years. So why did it end? And when it did, how did that make you feel?
Ended in my freshman year of high school. Uh, he uh, he just said, "I don't want to do this anymore," you know. And it's like, um, really? It's like, I thought it was, I thought he liked me. I thought it was being that young. I thought it was a love thing, almost sort of, you know,
Did you love
because it
him?
was. I'm sorry.
Did you love him? Or did you think you loved him?
I guess being that young, yeah, I thought there was something there. I mean, it was, you know, um, I- it was really my first relationship, kind of of any kind, really. And what I guess what we know about sex is that it bonds people, you know. So actually, yeah, I felt a bond there. I felt, and first, it, I'd have to say 50% of the time, I hated it, but the other 50, I wanted it, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and it was something. I don't know. I just, um,
Take your time. It's okay. This is tough. I'm sure this is tough to talk about, especially as open as you're talking about it. And I do appreciate it. Because, Scott, there's probably a lot of kids out there, summer camp or not, that this has
yeah,
happened to. I mean, girl,
right.
I will share a story transparently that I don't think I've ever shared publicly with anyone before. Is I remember when I was a young girl and I was probably in third or fourth grade, right in there. Um, I developed my breast very early in life, and I remember my next door neighbor was spending the night with us, and we played for a couple of years together. But I started developing these breasts, and she was infatuated with them, wanted to touch them. It was very weird to me, because I didn't know what it meant, and but something inside of me told me it was wrong at the same time.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so I know it happens. I know it happens to people. A lot of people don't want to admit that it does, or maybe they don't remember that it had happened to them. But by sharing it, I believe we can really help each other understand it more and
Definitely. Yeah.
educate each other with it. So,
Hmm.
okay, so it ended in ninth grade. You were heartbroken, weren't you? Because you really cared about. You thought that what you had was real love. You were
Yeah.
heartbroken by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Did you date girls after that?
No, I did never date girls. It's not that I didn't want to. It didn't. It wasn't that I didn't. Well, actually, in in middle school, while this was going on, I was writing notes to girls. You know, I
Yeah.
wanted them to be my girlfriend. You know, um, and I I let it go too long. I guess I wouldn't approach her. I'd write the note, but didn't go up to them. I wanted them to respond to me, and they never responded to me. Well, they did respond to me and sending a friend of theirs to me and saying, she doesn't want to. But that was like, she doesn't want to be her girlfriend. But that was like, could be 2 3 weeks after I sent the first note. I was just. I also had um, mom fear, meaning that my mom was talking about that, um, dating, being with girls, not in a like sit you down and discuss it with you kind of way. It was kind of like innuendo, um, just little snippets of conversation, or she bringing up a small snippet in a conversation.
Right.
Um, and it was just, yeah, I was afraid. I mean, but basically, I think from that first from Peru, uh, that's where I began living my life in fear, you know, and and after I graduated high school, that's what even before. But in my adult life, you know, I I lived my life in fear. I of everything. It just was people, especially, but it was difficult. It was very difficult.
Mm.
It's, you know,
Phyllis, one of our viewers, has a question for you. She wants to know if after the breakup with this kid in ninth grade, did you feel rejected when it was over?
yes,
Felt rejected, like
yes,
like maybe not worthy of his love or anybody else's at that point, probably in your life, right?
I'll say so. I figured out I didn't do the note thing with the girls. You know, right? I guess I didn't write notes for a long time, um, and and then the thing with the guy, and I was just, like I said, I was scared. I was just scared to talk to people. And again, it's we're talking about two or three factors that are coming in together, coming into play to my mom, the guy, um, the my mom making me go to church and sit there, and not that that was a bad thing. It was just
Right.
that I didn't have a choice but to go to church, and her talking about what would God think if you did this or that, or you got to think about what God thinks, and
That
you
guilt,
know
laying that
yeah,
guilt.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. So this addiction, so this behavior with this boy, like you said, 50% of the time you liked it. I mean, let's get honest, it feels good. I mean, it's a natural thing, right?
yeah, yeah,
So it started what is now a masturbation addiction, isn't it? I mean,
yes,
you got addicted to the Playboy magazines. You got addicted to that feeling, but instead of finding a partner, it was all about masturbation, right?
right, yeah. It's and I've yeah, since that day he ejaculated me, I've masturbated every day. You know,
Every day.
and it's sometimes depending, and really it became a way of, especially of in my home, growing up, it was kind of like an escape, sort of almost, because from what was going on with my parents, you know, and um, so in later life, my adult life, it was also an escape. It kept my emotions down. I didn't have to feel things. You know,
Yeah.
I, and there were times, if I didn't have a job or whatever, if I was stuck in my apartment or I stuck myself in my apartment, uh, I would do it more times. You know,
Yeah.
um, I mean, there were, I had tried to attend, or I did attend, SA, or Sex Alcoholics Anonymous, and I didn't. For one, I really didn't wasn't really into the program. I wanted to go. I went there, but um, and the guys, I felt like because they all talked about it, masturbating, things like that. I mean, but I can tell you that when I tried to stop, when I actually, not that I worked a program. that well because I didn't. But when I got on the phone, I decided that day, okay, today, I'm gonna make an effort. Okay, I get on the phone, some guys, and if the guys weren't there, I mean, they didn't answer the phone right away. If I had to leave a bunch of messages, it was so overwhelming, you
Yeah.
know,
And
and
plus, you joined this Sexaholics Anonymous group, but your problem, you weren't having sex with other people, men or women. This
no, 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 it was, uh, I was in an ACOA group, and before that, and I couldn't control myself. Sometimes when I hugged women, you know, and so I was having hard-ons when I hugged women. And actually, it didn't start out right away. It did, I was able to go to that group for a few years before it really started that way, you know.
so
And
you
they,
so obviously you are attracted to women.
yes, and they kicked me out, and so I said go to the SSA group. So I did, and um, yeah, it was so. But like I said, when I was on the phone or tried to stop, whatever day I tried to stop, decided, okay, this is the day, right? Um, for this day, it got really overwhelming, and it wasn't. It was easier to do it than to wait for the call back. By the time the guys called me back, it was like over. I'd already done it. So
Yeah. Julius says, thank you for having my friend Scott on your show. I love Julius. He was my number one guest, the very first guest I asked to
really,
be on my show. Yes.
awesome,
Yes.
awesome.
He and I have a really big, deep connection there. We don't see each other much, but yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott. Well, look, I don't want to take anything away from you. I feel like we're running out of time and we've got so much more to talk about. Um, Okay, so I'm gonna have to just kind of fast forward a little bit. So I know that you moved out of your house the year after you graduated high school. You did pretty good for about 15 years. Um,
Mhm.
and then you just decided you were going to move to Chicago all on your own, and you did it. And then the depression set in, the fear set in, and this is when you realized you had some deep seated issues around depression. So you were diagnosed what year with major depressive disorder?
Uh, Probably in 2005. I say 2005. Yeah, probably.
2005. Okay. And you were having a hard time functioning um, in society. I mean, you were hiding in your house. Just quickly, we don't have a lot of time, but kind of just quickly talk a little bit about the signs, because I want people out there, if they be maybe thinking, oh, I wonder if I have that. Talk about the signs that you were noticing in yourself that made you say in your head, I need help. What did that look like?
Uh, Gradual isolation, um, um, fear of people, um, not being able to talk to anybody. Um, um, I guess what for me, self sabotage, you know, and that really took the form of what that was big in jobs, meaning um, I would be late to work, like constantly, constantly late to work. Didn't matter the job, didn't matter who the boss was, it didn't, you know.
Why were you late? What was causing you to be late?
I just didn't want to work. I mean, I
Well, hey,
just
guess
didn't. I
what?
mean,
I think
if
that applies to all of us.
I mean, I actually lived in subsidized housing, right? And so if I didn't have a job, my rent was zero, right? And if I possibly could have gotten away without eating, I would have done that, you know, because I did the food pantries there would give me like I was a single guy, no dependents, with no major health issues at that point. So I got like that much food for like a month, That's what they give me. So I had to actually work to feed myself, right? So if I if I could have gotten away without eating, I would have done it, not worked. I would just not have worked. I would have just stayed in my apartment and you
And that's
know,
all day.
um,
Honestly. Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay, so all right. So you started noticing that you might have some depression. You went and got help. What is the first in-house, inpatient type setting that you went to, and what was that like?
it was a facility where I lived. It was a hospital psych unit.
Psych.
Um, yeah, and then I was there for like 14 days. Did like 16 weeks of aftercare, and then I had to go back to work. And I decided I decided I needed uh, some more help, I guess. So I went back to a different hospital because the other one was. They actually were in the same system. I had to go to the other hospital, but from that hospital, I went to Elgin State Hospital, and I was there for like 6 months, and then
Well, let me stop you because I got to ask this question because we watch movies and we see what state hospitals look like on TV. Is it really like that in a state hospital? Are there people with straight jackets on? Are there people chained to chairs? And are there people just
no,
pulling their hair out and doing crazy things all over the place? I mean, did it drive you
no,
nuts
no, they've come a long way since then.
there?
So at least on my unit, that didn't happen. You know,
Okay.
W-
Okay.
it's an open unit. There were like maybe 20 people there, I guess, but there were three different units. And, it was open. You could go, I mean, they brought your food into you. Um, they, they had games you can play and stuff like that. They had groups during the day you could go to. But then there was a guy who came in right to the unit. And he was there about a week, and he was in a group with me, and he goes, you know, I was in I was in prison, and I had more freedom in prison than I did here.
Oh wow.
Because they kept us all in a unit. I mean, you couldn't leave. So if it's like, but if you're there for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 days, some people are only there 2 or 3 days,
Oh.
a week,
How long were
maybe
you
two. I was there for 6 months. But and
in?
part of that had to do with my the sex thing, the
Okay.
sexual addiction, you know, be, because they wanted to know, so they kept like bringing me into the psychiatrist, questioning me, about sexual addiction, stuff like that. Um, um, and then, but I mean, they would let us off the unit to get a pop or go to the gym or something like that because they had a old gym there,
Yeah.
and so we could go there and run around for like an hour or whatever. you know Other than that, I mean, we're stuck there. It's just, but
Okay. So I know you were in a couple of different facilities. What's the longest amount of time you spent in one of those?
that would be when they released me from Elgin. I went to uh, Albany Care Nursing Facility, which is in Evanston. I was there for 6.5 years.
6.5 years.
Yeah.
Wow, it's pretty incredible. Do you feel like, looking back now, Scott, do you feel like you needed to be there 6.5 years? Or were you caught in the system?
I was probably caught in the system, but I wasn't prepared. I mean, I really wasn't prepared to leave until until I decided I was prepared to leave.
What
I
what made
mean,
you decide?
meaning that I when my first couple of years there, I knew that if they let me out right away, I would just go back to doing what I was doing before. You know,
Mhm.
it's not that I didn't want to, because I did. It's just that I realized that I just go back to hiding in my apartment, not doing anything. Besides the fact that I had been evicted and from my apartment by that time, and so I had to go find work and go get build up a security deposit, all that stuff. That would have been really hard.
It's
And
such a
then
parallel. It's such a parallel here because you have, someone like me that was out there doing wrong, breaking the law, committing crime, and I go to jail and lose my freedom because of that. You have someone like you that wasn't breaking the law, but you weren't healthy mentally and you had to go to another prison type place and also lose your freedoms. You
yeah,
know, it's
yeah,
really crazy how that parallels each other like that. And I don't think people are aware enough about. I think there needs to be a lot more awareness, and I know that's something Julius works on too. Is about
yeah.
mental health. We need to bring awareness to it because it is a disorder that we can't always control, and you never know when you see someone and they have that blank look in their eye, you know, that feeling of loneliness or desperation or nobody in this entire world loves or cares about me. I'm so alone. I mean, I can only imagine that feeling, you know. Uh, so we're going to talk about now because we're running out of time. Um, how you've managed, because I'm so damn proud of you, Scott. I know how much effort and courage it has taken for you to get to where you are today, and I want to talk about how you were able to break free from that facility and how you stay out of it. What do you do that keeps you on your healthy line that you're on now?
Well, okay. So what helped me break out of that facility was that uh, somebody named Williams took the state of Illinois to court, and they were saying that the state is not providing enough funds or money for people to move out of facilities like that, right? So the state settled the case, and they started moving people out of those facilities. And I was by that time I had been going back to Catholic Church for about 3 years. So actually, uh, 3 years into my stay at this facility, I went back to Catholic Church, and then through going back there, I realized I came to accept that I was depressed,
Yeah.
you know, and I required medication to treat my mental illness. Um, and then sometime after that, I accepted God's forgiveness. Um, and those three key factors allowed me to be honest uh, in my assessment to determine if I was a good candidate to move out of the facility. So as I in my assessment, I decided to be honest with the assessor, uh, an interviewer, and I was accepted to move out. Um, Trilogy Behavioral Healthcare was the one that came to assess me, um, and it took about 3 months for me to transition out of the facility. And during that 3 months, I had time to think about what it was going to be like for me outside the facility. Am I going to go back to what I was doing? You know, um, if I wanted something different for me, what was I going to have to do to make it different? You know,
Yeah. What was that thing
and
gonna
that was accepting help from others. Okay, and Trilogy was the ones that were lucky enough to draw my lot, really, because really it was a lottery for agencies for people to be paired with agencies, right? So they were the ones that were lucky enough to get me.
so
Um, but
Scott, petrified? Were you scared? And you've been under someone's care in this home for 6.5 years. Were you
yeah,
petrified to go back out into the real world all by yourself? What did that, I mean, How did that not in itself send you back into depression and isolation? Did they
Uh,
help you through it?
yeah, because I was the beneficiary of Trilogy's dedication and support through that whole move out process. Those you know, first month, first 2 months that I was in my own apartment, they came to visit me. You know, they showed me around the neighborhood. Uh, told me where things were. Um, Showed me how to get to Trilogy. From my apartment, so I could do it on my own. So and they had a cafe called the Beacon there, and I would go to the Beacon at Trilogy for like because I moved out in the middle of a group cycle at Trilogy. So, when the new group cycle started, I signed up for groups and then I could attend groups. And um, yeah, so and I participated in the groups. I spoke up. I told, you know, I talked about whatever the topic was, on how it affected me. And I, I participated. I participated in my life. You know,
You-
um, I
During
mean, it's go ahead.
during
So,
that time when you were in that home for 6.5 years, did they help you with your masturbation? Did they help you with that issue that you had? Or was it more of a problem for you there?
no, they gave me a pill. They gave me something.
A
And
pill?
they
There's
just,
a pill for that?
I guess, I get, I guess. I mean, they didn't tell me they did that. They didn't tell me that, but they gave me something because I couldn't, I could, because I
Medicine they was
started.
affecting your performance is what you're saying.
I'm sorry.
So are you saying that the meds that you were on was affecting your performance,
Yeah,
basically?
yeah.
So whether
I
they did
mean,
it intentionally or not. Okay.
yeah, it could have been a side effect. I mean, definitely it could have been a side effect, but yeah, it could have been a side effect. Yeah.
So when you moved out on your own, did you fall back into those behaviors or did you keep up with your medication?
No, I kept up my medication. Yeah.
And I think that's important here for the audience to understand is that I think the big message here is that when you have a mental health disorder, you also have a responsibility to treat it, correct?
Yeah, and I have to back up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, you asked me if I kept up with my medication. Not in the beginning, not so much. You know, Sometimes I would throw it away. I would. If I missed days, I just throw it away because if I went to the, if I went back into, because children is helping me pack meds, right? So and that was like twice a week. If I went in there with meds in my box, I would have to explain to them why I missed. You know, um, so it wasn't. And also, I came in. These things come as I participated. I continued to participate. I continued going to church. Going to mass, being with my church family and my trilogy family. I came to realize that I, I need this. I need these meds. You know, I, and I began to want to take them. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that it was easy. It was just it was a progression. Of becoming coming into wanting to um, um, get better. You know, Wanting to do that. Participating was one part, but meds were another part too. And I realized I needed those. I needed the meds as well.
And like you said, it was a choice to participate in life, and you knew to do
Yes.
that, that you needed those medications. And it
Right.
was, and then not just that, but it was responsibility to take
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So, man, that's great. Um, a lot of comments here. Janice says, most challenging to tell the truth about your journey. Sherry says she agrees. She's on antidepressants. She has to take them to help. A lot of people talking about your transparency, amazing courage. It just goes on and on. Lots of comments here, Scott. A lot of people here supporting you and thanking you for being so transparent. We got about 5 minutes left in the show. Um, I would like to talk a little bit about your YouTube channel. Tell people how they can find you and what your goal of that channel is.
Okay. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel which has about I don't know right now 120 videos on it right now. Um, Most of them are me talking, reading from a book, a daily affirmation book or a daily devotional. I also read from the Bible, um, and I also with the daily devotionals and the daily affirmations. I will read them first, and then I will give my experience as it relates to that daily devotional or daily affirmation. Um, I hope, and I hope that I what I read and my sharing my experience would benefit others, um, while also benefiting myself. I it's it's difficult for me to read these things. It's difficult for me to. In some ways I'm still stuck. Um, uh, but I can do it there. I can do it on YouTube. I can do it in a video. I can do it hoping that someone else may benefit from my experience.
That's beautiful. Um, so that's is it just your name on YouTube? Is that how people find you?
Yes, just put in Scott